Hey YouTube land, welcome to another action figure review by Tycondrius, and we're having a look at the Diamond Select Star Wars Boba Fett figure. Now if you're not familiar with this figure, as far as I'm aware, it is a Disney store or Disney park exclusive, so you can get them online through third-party sellers. That's where I got my one. I actually got them loose, so I didn't get the box for them, and I got them reasonably cheap, so I didn't pay over the odds for them. Like some sellers on eBay are looking for, I think, 50 plus on this guy, and I think he's only $39 or $40 in store, or like if you were able to pick him up in store. So he's a bit cheaper than what he seems to go for online, but I managed to get a good deal on this guy for about 18 bucks, so I can't deny that was a good deal. What he is actually a taller than the Black Series version of Boba. Now they do other characters that I'm aware of. They do a Stormtrooper. I think they do Vader, and I've seen Chewbacca. And Boba Fett was the one that I wanted the most because he is, well, Boba Fett, and he is pretty cool. I would imagine they do stuff from Mandalorian as well, but we'll bring in the old tape measure first so you can see how tall he is. He is nearly, just if you go to the tip of his viewfinder, he's nearly 7 3/4 inches tall. Like, the figures are done to be 7-inch scale, so if anything else in that kind of scaling, he should fit in pretty well with those. So let's bring in something a bit more in scale with him. So Black Adam here from it's not the Page Punchers version of Black Adam, it's the Frost King or whatever the hell his name is, the Winter one, Build-A-Figure wave. So you can see he should scale a little bit. He's a little bit on the short side, but you can see he does scale pretty nicely. We will grab a Predator figure. This is Enforcer Predator, if I remember correctly, from NECA. So he scales pretty damn well for that. So if you ever want to do some sort of crossover figure diorama stuff, he is the nice one to go for if you want to crossover stuff with NECA figures. So now, and we'll just bring in because he's here, and put in Thomas Wayne Batman from Flashpoint. And so you can see how cool he stacks next to one of the McFarlane figures. Now, as I said, I didn't get the box for this guy, so this is pre-owned box, but he is pretty cool. So he does come with a couple of nice accessories. So I'm going to wiggle his little blaster out of his hand. Now, he does have this thing with his hand. It's a nice way they did it. So if you have the hand stretched out like at a neutral kind of thing, he does have an elbow joint, but because he has that piping, they didn't actually make it glued into place. They did it so that when you move the elbow, it just stays in place. I know it looks unsightly and it's not accurate to how he's portrayed, because these pipes are supposed to move with him, like with the Black Series one. But I found that even on my Black Series 6-inch version, these tend to snap or break because they're under a lot of pressure when you're moving the elbow and stuff around. So what they opted to do is they just opted to leave it kind of static. I know, as I said, does look a little unsightly, but the end result does look pretty good. But we'll get into his accessories first. So he does come with a pair of interchangeable hands. I'm not sure which ones he comes with as a default. I would imagine he comes with these more rest hands. So what he comes with is a left and right trigger finger hand, and then he comes with left and right resting hands. So at the moment he has the right hand trigger and left rest. So he has that on. He does come with his iconic blaster. This is the return of the Jedi version of him, not the Empire Strikes Back version. So he has that kind of barrel stuff going on, or the kind of ribbing on the barrel. I think in Empire Strikes Back, this whole barrel is just plain, and I think it has slightly different coloring if I remember correctly, but it is supposed to be the same weapon. You also get an attachment for that weapon, So you get a blast effect for this particular weapon, which is quite nice. He comes with a couple of blast effects. In fact, I used the wrong one. I did. So he comes with a flame burst blast effect for his flamethrower. Now these gauntlets do move separate to the elbow, so if I just move it into position, this small tiny piece at the front does come out, so just be careful. I think it might be attached in the box, so it is a separate piece. It's on a rail, so it goes only in one way. But the way it works is you have a blast effect, goes into his thing to create the flamethrower he had in Return of the Jedi. I think it's the only time you actually see him use that in the original trilogy. I don't remember him using it in any of the other films. Now you can swivel the gauntlet and just kind of keep it at rest so it doesn't get in the way, because I do find that the hands do tend to bump up against the edges of the gauntlet when moving them around, so it is handy that you can rotate the gauntlet and then rotate the hand to the way you want, which is quite nice. He comes with two other effects, and these are these kind of weird, kind of mushroomy, kind of cucumbery, whatever way you want to call it. These are designed to plug into his jetpack. Now, I found it really hard to kind of plug these in without overstressing it, but they are designed that there is peg holes on the bottom of the thrusters, so they should peg in, but I don't want to really overstretch it. But you get the general idea. They're supposed to give the effect that he's using his jetpack. I'm not a big fan of this version of it. I think Hasbro did it better with that whole block thing that kind of sat underneath the figure. He had like a big kind of jet exhaust thing that you could plug the figure into and gave him like a little bit of height as a base. I think that was a better way of doing it. But that's just me. So he does, as I said, come with a lot of accessories, but he also has a lot of articulation. Now his cloak here is a solid piece, so it is not removable. I'm not too sure if his backpack is supposed to be removable. I can see there's like glue indications on it, so maybe the previous owner glued this into place. I don't know. It doesn't want to move, so I'm not going to force it to break it off, but I think it could potentially be a separate piece. It's just that whoever had this before me glued it in place, because it was probably a loose thing that kept flopping off, because I have that with one or two of the whatchamacallit versions, the Black Series versions, especially my Death Watch Black Series Mandalorian. His jetpack keeps just dropping off. You just go like that, it just rolls off. So he does have some nice articulation, so his arms can go out that much. Not great, but he can do a 360 with the arm, just as long as you move it out of the way to give it clearance of the backpack. His head is on a great ball joint, so you get some great range of movement, up, down, left, right, all 360. His viewfinder is articulated. You can go up to the up position. Now it doesn't go back or anything. There is a cutoff point where it stops, so it's supposed to hold it in place. As I said, he does have that swivel in the arm with that piece for the elbow. It's only a single jointed elbow, but it is still nice. He does have the gauntlet rotation as well. The one on this hand seems to be a lot more tighter than the one on his left, but you can rotate the gauntlet. His hands have hinges in and out, so if you want, you can get his blaster in. His hands are a nice kind of rubbery thing as well, so if you want to get him into a nice two-handed pose, you can get him to do that. You could probably get him into that kind of semi-resting pose as well. It won't be the best, but because if it was double jointed elbows, you'd probably get it better, because his arm should be like over there, but you can get kind of a semi version of that. He does have a ball jointed waist, which is quite nice. His belt is actually a separate piece, so it does tend to ride up a small bit over the waist a bit, so just be wary of that. It is like a separate piece. He does have waist swivel he doesn't have like lower waist swivel, from what I can tell. At least I don't think he does. Yeah, he just has the upper joint, so it is quite tight, but it is there. He has legs that kick forward, can kick out that much. Not the best, but it is nice. Can rotate at the thigh. He has double knee joints, which are super tight, so you can get him into kind of flight poses. And then he has rocker ankles that kind of move pretty nicely, and he does have peg holes on the bottom of the feet. If you can see, this is 2020, so this guy was made, these guys were made a couple of years back, so it is 23 now at the time of this recording. So he was made 3 years ago, but possibly sculpted 3 years ago. Sometimes they'll say 2020 on the release, and then there might be 2021 where they were actually released. So it could have been designed in 2020 and then released in 2021. So it could be maybe a year in between, depending on when he was actually released. But overall, he's a fantastic figure. I know I say that about nearly every figure I review, but this particular one I find very nice. Like, he's not as super articulated as you could get, possibly. He could maybe have room for improvement, but for what he is at, like, for what you get with him, the extra accessories, and even if you have Batfleck here, you have like a pretty good Boba Fett that can stand with your DC multiverse figures and have them, if you're doing diorama shots or crossover stuff, you can have them hunting down DC multiverse characters in a diorama shot, which is pretty cool. In fact, if I just bring in, if I bring in Cheap Hopper, while not knocking everything over, from Stranger Things, you can have them in like a Stranger Things or a more modern day setting as well, or if you want, well, not really modern day, but you know what I mean, kind of more Earth-based settings. If you have other figures that would be in scale to that. So all in all, he's a nice figure. If you can pick one up reasonably cheap, I would say go for it, because he is actually a cool version of Boba Fett. Now, he doesn't have stuff like the firing rocket pack or anything like that, but like, that's beside the point. He does look very nicely painted. This, like, the whole paint apps on him are done really nice. I don't have any real QC issues, other than, as I said, the jetpack being kind of glued in place. As I said, I'm not sure if that was done previously before I bought it, but like, even the detailing, the scuffing and scrape marks all over his armor are just very nicely done. So, and the joints aren't too overly visible, in the sense that, you know, they're not too garish or anything like that, so you can get some great posing with this guy. So all in all, I do recommend picking one up if you can get one, and if you can get one on the cheap, that's even more to your advantage. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this quick video review of the Diamond Select Boba Fett for, as I said, I think it's Disney Parks and Disney Store have them. I'm not sure if they're available in retail, regular mass retail, but if you can get one, I do recommend going for it. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Cheers.